Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of League Zero, and welcome to this first round of the Zero to Hero Legacy Tournament. My name is Acronator, of course, the commissioner and your play-by-play caster for tonight. I am joined by Karma. How you feeling, Karma?
I'm feeling pretty good. This is our first time being able to really see these teams in action with the redemption arc sort of tournament.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little bit interesting, right? Because this is the first pre-made tournament that League Zero has put on. Now, obviously, League Zero pre-made, sort of that like tenacity core from Season 4, Bench Prime, more or less a rebirth from the bench from Season 3, but we haven't really seen these exact rosters together quite yet. And of all maps, we're going to be seeing them on Lijiang Tower first and foremost. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, Lijiang is one of the greatest, one of the best maps to start off with, in my opinion, because of the three different play styles that you could see. With indoor, you can see a lot of rush, a lot of just back and forth, basically just run into each other. With garden, you can see a lot more dive, a lot more slower pace, and then with night market, you could see a mixture of both. You could see a bit of ball, a bit of monkey, a bit of Rhine, even a little bit of everything.
Well, we'll be getting into the map in just a minute here while the teams are getting set up, and here we are transitioning the setup over, and we have, of course, Bench Prime over on the left side, League Zero Premade on the right, and it looks like we're starting off on Garden, so I guess what are you expecting to see here?
Um, Sort of like dive. I like the dive here. Dive is very, very good on this point, especially with the Sombra being able to hack the megas of both sides. Especially if you're able to get the other team's mega, it'll be very hard for them to sort of regroup and have to sort of keep poking.
Well, sure enough, we have a little bit of a dive here. Nebula swapping over at the last second to the Reaper to go for a full six-man Shadow Dive, whatever floats your goat in terms of that. Quick hack onto Asdo, but no capitalization, so it's really just League Zero pre-made. Taking a ton of damage and actually managing to find Seb's mech first and foremost. Godspeed looking for something on this Genji, really only finding Luna's face, which isn't in the fight for that much longer because Ravioli takes it out, as well as Dizzy getting a little bit low, but will survive. A lot of healing coming in from True Donger in particular. Godspeed does fall to a rogue damage orb, but I'm not sure how much it really matters because it looks like League Zero Premade cleaned up house.
Yeah, League Zero Premade had a very good rotation with bubbles and hacks, and then Ravioli already has 70, about a little bit over 70% of their EMP made.
Already, it's Rav is looking desperately to build up that last little bit, poking out. No real pressure coming in quite yet, but the dive coming in onto the main frontline portion of League Zero Premade. The Coalescence already coming out in True Donger, getting a 3k boops off as well, but I'm not sure if that really matters. Luna, she might be wanting that Primal Rage back now.
Yeah, that was a very good EMP for Ravioli. Already has 30% before Arctivius has their other before Arctivius has theirs. So I'm looking for hopefully maybe another quick bomb engage from League Zero Premade.
Well, once again, we have Bench Prime diving in rather quickly. Didn't look like their backline was quite ready. And Pivot finding Ravioli, of all things, before the beat could come out, and the front line of Bench Prime is just melted. In the meantime, Archivist doesn't really get a chance to use the EMP, and League Zero Premade, despite losing Ravioli rather early in that fight, Sombra is not going to be the fight maker there.
No, and Archivist has this EMP still, so they have a very good win condition here with EMP bomb, especially since League Zero Premade has nothing. They had to use beat in that last fight, and they're only 20% to it.
Well, already we have the posturing for the dive. A little bit of a cheeky flank here from Archivist, looking out for Akasha. Does get the hack off, but doesn't really set up for the EMP until just now. Dizzy now tossing in their own Primal Rage will find Aurora, who I believe was hacked up and just stood no chance of surviving. Unfortunately, she'll be sent back to spawn, and Godspeed cleaning up house as well. Last couple remaining members here with the EMP to prevent the touch. Sebs stood no chance whatsoever, and that's going to be Garden's 100-0 for League Zero Premade.
Yeah, that was a great last second EMP for Ravioli, trying to deny the Diva's touch and just gets her right over the well and perfectly timed.
absolute troll if I've ever seen one. Sebs doesn't play in this community for, what, 3 seasons at this point? And that's the welcome back he gets as a player. Of course, he's been around as a coach. But now we're on a completely different round, Control Center. So, I mean, are we just looking at Reinhardt Brawl here?
I would like it. I wouldn't mind some Reinhardt Diva brawl. It could go to Reinhardt Diva or even a Reinhardt Sigma brawl in this team comp.
Well, no toes in this round. It appears to be the Symmetra Teleporter, with both divas ready and willing to get in the faces of the opponent's Archivist. Come on, man. They didn't even get a chance to look at what they were shooting at. Already we have a ton of damage coming in. Archivist pushing up a little bit too far forward in front of the front line, and Luna actually taking quite a lot of damage as well. Nebula trying to even out the odds here, and Asdo taking a ton of damage will actually even up the fight quite a bit, and it looks like the Bench Prime will be able to take the favorable positioning, but I don't think this fight is quite over yet. They want to re-engage. Ravioli stopping the punch before it can really push in. I think they're soft disengaging and looking for a chance to re-engage.
Yeah, Ravioli wants to look for that opening pick on the squishy, either it be the sim or even
Was about a 5-man EMP, but it looks like the Bench Prime are still coming out of this rather unscathed despite losing Archivist there, as well as Nebula's not going to have their DPS, but Archivist gets the last laugh with the kill after death there.
Yeah, that was a great pickoff for Ravioli, but Bench Prime was just there to come back, and just, I think it was a 5-man shatter that they hit.
Just about, yeah. Godspeed getting close to that Dragon Blade, but no Ana in sight on their team, so they have to, never mind, they decided the Junkrat is not what they wanted to fight this time around. Dragon Blade coming out looking for the Symmetra, but Nebula dies too early to really feel the wrath of that, but the 2K on the Dragon Blade itself doing rather well. Nice assist there, as well as another one on Luna. Godspeed. Genji, a rather unorthodox pick, but it seems to be working out.
Yeah, the Genji is a very good pick to provide pressure onto the enemy team, especially with that Dragon Blade, a swipe and a dash, and you're basically done for. Especially with the Doom Fist, and pivot goes down to a Fire Strike.
A deflected Fire Strike as well, so Luna killed her own Baptiste, which is hilarious but also tragic. As someone who has coached Luna, I know her reaction right now. But either way, they're still going. They lose Ravioli, but they say they don't care. Who needs a Doomfist when you just keep getting kills regardless? They're just holding this choke point.
Oh yeah, this is what Premade wants. They want them to sort of be stuck in this choke point, keep the Doomfist alive. Since Ravioli did die, they have to back out a little bit, but hopefully Ravioli will be there soon enough to pick off a squishy.
They do have to back up a little bit. Windows dueling each other with our kill already onto Luna. She did not last for very long. Bomb coming in from the backline will find Archivist. That's already quite a few members down for Bench Prime. They just have to back out at this point.
Yeah, this seems like just Premade's map entirely. Brawl looks like their favorite sort of playstyle, and they've been playing it to a T.
Already we have a few ultimates built up. It seems like Bench Prime has the advantage there, but I mean, they just haven't had the chance to use it. Already Dragon Blade coming in, the lamp comes out as well as the tire, but it looks like the Dragon Blade is finding more value for the time being. Yeah, only 1 kill under Ravioli, who can't seem to stay alive for more than 30 seconds at a time, but it doesn't matter when you're winning these fights so handily.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. You're just there to provide pressure. He's been doing just that, providing pressure, maybe getting some damage in, maybe getting a pick or two, and just dying. But then his team is there to follow up.
If you don't have 10 deaths per 10 minutes, are you really playing Doomfist? Which I guess
no, you're not.
They're gonna have to figure something out. The Bench Prime is. They're trying to deal with Ravioli once again, but they've won these fights previously without their Doomfist. But this time it's not looking so chipper for them. Aurora might get the kill onto Archivist. Actually, Asdo snipes the final blow, but that will be the point now flipping over. But they can't really lose anymore. They're 99% League 0 Premade is.
Yeah, Ravioli swaps over from the Doomfist to the Hanzo, maybe trying to get a little bit of the less dying portion out of it and trying to just provide more long-range pressure. As Our
Uh,
beats? Oh,
Okay.
oh
Well,
no.
they're pressing W. This is pretty much Dizzy 101 right here. The main tank extraordinaire, who apparently loves Spawn more than the point, as he did not last very long. The dog agrees with me in the background. Dragonblade trying to clean this up, but it's getting rather scrappy. It's hard to say who has the advantage, but now that League Zero Premade is building up more of these ultimates and just tossing them in, despite not finding the value, it is forcing a lot of resources out of the bench prime. This is getting dangerous. They're going to need to touch rather quickly, but I'm not sure if they have the speed as well as Godspeed. Finding quite a few picks there at the very end. It looks like Luna should be able to touch the point, but for how long will she stay alive? As the picks are coming in left and right for League Zero Premade, they really want to end out this map and go up 1-0 in the series, but they need to clear off the stragglers coming in from now the offense. Sebs gets out of mech, and Truedonger once again has a window as though it were nothing, building these up so incredibly fast. Archivist coming back with a pick, but dies almost immediately thereafter, and that's going to be League Zero Premade taking map 1.
Yeah, League Zero Premade was actually able to keep rolling over them this entire, almost the entirety of Indoor. Like they bench did have a good hold to try to retake it, but it just seemed like this was Premade's map.
Well, certainly Dizzy is quite known in the community as the Reinhardt that basically every button is bound to his charge, so I guess I can't say I'm shocked about their performance on Control Center. But coming into this next map, it is going to be King's Row. Do you think that's going to lend to League Zero Premade just kind of rolling over the bench prime again, or do you think that they can do something to stop Premade from just doing whatever they want?
I honestly feel like that bench prime could do something very, very sort of simple. Try to hold the high ground, try to hold longer angles, especially with a rush team that loves to just press W key and just run at your face. Maybe try to take a book out of like just double shield, try to stay on the high ground a little bit, poke them from different angles, and just try to keep back, I guess, is sort of like the best way to put it. You don't want to have to risk your entire offense, your entire defense to try to combat their offense. You want to try to play back a little bit more, especially with a team that's super aggro, like how Premade has been.
Certainly, kiting, they can only chase you for so long before they invest all their resources. But as we get into King's Row in just a moment here, so we have League Zero Premade opting to defend this time around. Rather common situation. We do actually have a swap in terms of the DPS for Bench Prime. Fifi is coming in for Nebula. So we do have that. Fifi is a considerably more flexible player in terms of flex DPS. She's played off tank in the past, right? She's probably going to be a little bit more versatile in terms of whatever Bench Prime want to throw out here.
Yeah, Bench Prime on attack, I'm super worried about them, especially since it looked like they were almost not really whole-handedly beaten, but definitely a lot weaker on the Brawl matchup, so I wonder how they're going to do with this on King's Row so far.
Don't do it, Luna. Okay. Back in the days when I coached Luna, she would charge from the top ropes to the statue and get Maywalled off and die every single time. It was painful. But I'm not coaching her now, I'm casting her, so that's fun. Still quite a bit of damage coming in. Fifi looking to interrupt Dizzy's charge. It looks like it worked there, either that or Luna counter charge. But Seb's out of mech so early. That's not a great start for this offense. They're probably just going to have to disengage, especially with Fifi now gone as well. The burst damage not really helping out when you're in spawn more than you're fighting the enemy. Ravioli just taking pot shots already. 75% to that noon. Okay, that might be a little bit aggressive. What was the remix? Sebs, come on. I know you wanted to show off a little bit, but that's a bit excessive, and that opens everything up. The Bench Prime coming in as though they never lost the first fight to begin with. If this really counts as a second fight, it's just a continuation. A quick missed punch there, but Asdo should be able to get out with their mech. That's going to be at least 2 ticks yielded.
Yeah, that's what looks like it's a Premade sort of downfall. They get super aggro and they just get picked off.
Oh, the Maywall from Archivist. There was no way that was intended, but it worked all the same. Dizzy with just a sliver of HP, and they're coming back! 94% yielded, but the sheer speed and aggression of Premade allows them to retake this point at the very final hour.
Yeah, their aggression is both their downfall as well as their best part of it. Like, they were able to take that without them actually capping it because of how aggressive they were. Now, if they only just tone it back just a little bit once they know the fight is won, then hopefully they won't be able to just throw it away like they almost did.
Already Amplification Matrix. Actually, forget about Amplification Matrix. There's about 3 other ultimates happening all at once. The Dragon Blade, the Blizzard, both support ultimates from the bench as well as one. But they get off the point, probably from the Blizzard, I have to assume. No, wait, the defense. Yeah, no, that had to be from the Blizzard then. They were too frozen to be able to recontest, and despite taking the fight immediately to their spawn, they're still going. They use an Ant Matrix in the spawn doors. This is not looking too good. No, Sebs, you can't keep doing this to them. So he can't keep getting away with it, but he does.
Yeah, this is just a way how you play this map, I feel like, especially against a super aggro team.
Well, already Fifi manages to find a pick there. The high noon from Ravioli, the misfortune of the Cassidy, transcends whoever is playing it, I suppose. And it looks like Bench Prime will be able to push the card after a little bit of a scrappy take, dare I say.
Yeah, Premade was playing the touch the spawn door challenge, and they did fairly good at it for a little bit, but then they ended up dying to the Diva Bomb.
That's what I like to call the Dizzy effect. He does that with literally every team he's on. I'm not shocked.
Oh, yeah.
Have a little bit of poke damage coming in onto the Streets phase. Bench Prime only has 1 person on the card. Probably Aurora, but the amplified Icicle is too much for Godspeed. It doesn't even get to touch the ground. Fifi dies once again, but as we've seen, you don't need a Doomfist in play to win the fight, and Luna proves just that with a beautiful 3-man shatter. Ant Matrix coming in from True Donger now trying to prevent any further progress, but a nice wall will make quick work of that Sightline. Archivist with a 1 HP! There's no way. Okay, they're getting healed up by Silvertalls. Now they might be able to get out, but I'm not sure for how much longer as everyone's falling left and right. Blizzard coming in. They think this is winnable. Archivist in particular. The Blizzard's after effect allowed Fifi to get Ravioli there, as well as, well, Akasha didn't really stand a chance as the Doomfist was straight in their face, and they had already used Sleep Dart. Fifi probably going to fall here. I'm not sure if just Asdo and Dizzy can keep this cart from moving any further, though, as the offense is coming in rather hot. They're finding the kills they need, and that's going to be second point. Possibly they're dragon blading? What is this? Why would you? How would you? And yeah, that pretty much went as we were expecting. I don't know why I was expecting anything different at this point. They're still coming in. They're staggering so much, but they really want to wear down this clock. But I think this is probably it. There's only so many miracles you can produce.
Yeah, this has to be it. Okay, there we go.
Aurora, come on, you're better than that. Or maybe it's just for the memes.
Yeah, this is how I feel like Premade just was like, you know what, we gotta keep them on the point as Debs just throws in the Diva Bomb in their spawn. I think they're both picking...
Shatter? He finds people with the Shatter? I mean, Luna falls in the meantime, but... And
Godspeed's unbashed. He's unbashed now. I mean, if you want to stop being aggro and just sort of try to fight aggro with a bunch of bullets, then Bastion's your choice, I guess.
Already a third of the way to the tank for him. They're already investing window. No one was really poking their head out aside from Luna, which, I mean, fair enough, she took a lot of damage from it, but I guess that stops the momentum in some regard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Nano. Nano and Dizzy.
He's frozen. He's not allowed to play the game.
He's frozen, but...
He was frozen out by Archivist. Oh dear, no! Dizzy finds the charge kill, but pays for it with their own life. That's going to be Dizzy back to spawn. But I think they got a little bit too close for comfort there, as Archivist is still on that May. You don't really want to be playing close range against Satan herself.
Oh yeah, close range against the May is just, it's death fodder at that point. Oh no.
No, Archivist. Outclassed, outplayed. Go home, go back to spawn. That's all you get this time around. But I mean, Bench Prime no longer has a ton of ultimates online, and Dizzy looking for yet another shatter. I don't believe he caught anything there. Luna without a shield, though, and Anti-Nate is basically as good as dead there, as well as Godspeed building up to that tank form. Amplification Matrix thrown out, because at this point, it's just a cooldown.
Yeah, it's every single ultimate so far is just like, okay, we have We have ult. It's just a cooldown. It'll be back in about 30 seconds. Why don't we just use it right away?
I don't believe the Shatter landed on anyone aside from maybe Godspeed, but that could have also been the changing animation for the ultimates. Either way, very nearly taking out Aurora, but otherwise it's just a zoning ult.
Yeah. Now you have Godspeed on the high ground as well, which is going to be something very, very difficult to try to deal with for Bench Prime, for Bench Prime.
Well, they'll have to do something about it. Seb's defense matrixing, but Dizzy with a 3-man beautiful anti-nade coming in from Akasha prevents any amounts of salvaging that situation, and Bench Prime just gotta back out. They really only have one more fight left.
Yeah, this is the point where I feel like Premade is finally realizing, okay, we can't press W as Godspeed is trying to go into their spawn. Oh no.
If anyone flanks, they are going to be dead very quickly, but it depends on if they flank or not. The beat coming in, as well as dual High Noons, not really finding anything. Aurora's beat keeping everyone alive and healthy, but Seb's, that's 6 bomb kills either from the bomb itself or the remake. The offense is pushing on forward, and Godspeed is still just chilling in that little corner.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know what to say. Archivist has the May ult. I know that much. Probably try to hold it down so that way they don't have to touch. As Godspeed is going for the flank bastion.
There's no way this works, right? There's no way they let the slowest DPS in the game get something. Oh dear. Well, Silver Toes actually outduels the Bastion. I'm proud and ashamed at the same time, but either way, I guess that's what you get when you take the League 0 Season 4 intermediate flex support champion and give him Soldier Light.
Yeah. That was insane. That's all I gotta say about that, is that was insane. Both teams, obviously near the end, it was very, very tough for Bench Prime to sort of touch third point and try to be able to capitalize it until the very last second, once Godspeed sort of went on like a little bit of a flank-ish, trying to watch the flank. But Premade actually looked pretty good once they were able to like sort of slow it down, realizing, okay, we won the fight, we're not going to try to over-aggress. They actually started to win a lot more fights.
Yeah, definitely. So now, I guess the question is, does League 0 Premade have to change anything in order to capture? Is that just, they're not a defense team, they're an offense team, they've shown that, and just kind of try and get a better time?
I think it's very much so just, hey, we're an offense now, we can press W key as much as we want, and we just win the team. We just win the game. I feel like that's what it's going to be from now on.
Well, we'll have to see, as they're now on offense.
Yeah. I do... Bench Prime has been trying to do this Doomfist again, now on defense. I hope it works out, but so far it hasn't really. That's the one thing I want to look out for, if it starts to work out, especially now they're on defense.
Well, Godspeed now on a new hero that we haven't seen from him. Luna with a very aggressive charge, looking to take out Dizzy. Both lamps actually invested, but Luna is going to be the first one to fall. Kills going back and forth, but that of course is going to favor the offense. Godspeed, aim just a little bit. There you go, and look at that. The kills come rolling in. The Reaper does in fact work.
Yeah, but that was very much so just a, hey, here's a Ryan, let's W key onto him, and it just didn't work out for Bench Prime. Premade was just able to jump over the wall, basically, break it really fast, as Ravioli's already 75% to Cassidy's High Noon.
Well, certainly, but he's going to need to survive the freeze, and it didn't quite happen. They couldn't touch the point, however, so League 0 Prime is going to be, Premade is going to be able to push forward with the cart rolling through with the kills, and there's no backup for Bench Prime at this point.
No, this Premade, I feel like now that they're on attack, they're just going to show why they just keep wanting to press W. They're going to try. I feel like they're just going to try to keep holding them at their spawn while they're at point 2.
Well, there's plenty of ultimates on the side of League 0 Premade to continue this roll. Dizzy, I would ask what you're doing, but I know what you're doing, and it's not surprising in the slightest. As long as it's not scouted, this could get rather messy for Bench Prime, but Akasha has to survive. Bomb coming in from the background, and Asdo pulls a Sebs, finds two, and Bench Prime just aren't in a position to really do anything about it. Fifi finds a pick onto Truedonger, but it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, that was just Dizzy sitting in the back line, actually being able to boop in Lunar, so that way the entire team just decided, you know what, we're going to target and focus her, and it just worked out. So Bench Prime... Oh no, Godspeed.
There's no way. Okay, no, there is a little bit of peel there.
There's a way.
There, well, okay, Ravioli getting a little bit hyper-aggressive there, probably looking for a setup on a Shatter. Flashbang combo with a solo Shatter onto Fifi. They're having none of this Doomfist play, but that's a beautiful return Shatter from Luna. We'll find 4. Asdo eats Archivist's Blizzard, so that's a fight-winning ultimate now out of play. Ton of ultimates being invested, but it looks as though, tentatively, League Zero Premade does have the upper hand in this engagement, but they don't have the spawn advantage, so if they keep bleeding members like this, they won't for very long. Aurora has to back out, but thankfully Sebs is still on the card, stalling it out. If they need to, they can use the sound barrier, look for something there. But now League Zero Premade pushing back in almost full force. The beat coming out just barely in the nick of time to save the Lucio, who is casting it. Ravioli finding Fifi once again. However, these Doomfists cannot last very long in these fights, it seems. Godspeed dangerously close to that Death Blossom. You know it's going to happen, but can they prevent it? Lamp coming out, and they will keep everyone alive, but they're all so incredibly low. Healing is immense from Bench Prime, but they also have to deal with the front line, and the split attention is allowing someone like Godspeed as well as Dizzy to just roll on through, and Fifi is just a hair too late.
Yeah, Fifi has been doing almost nothing. It just seems like she just keeps on trying to W key in, try to get a squishy, but just keeps on dying no matter what. And they swept to the Cassidy.
Oh, well, that's a little bit of hyper-aggression back in your face, and it looks like, oh no, they're just tossing in the bomb. Will not find anything, but it does take a nice chunk out of Seb's health bar, as well as enable Akasha to get that kick onto Aurora. High Noon, not really finding much, but it does melt the shield, allowing Luna to be annihilated with the follow-up damage. And this is a pretty hefty time bank for not very far to push to complete the map.
Oh yeah, the one thing though that I'm looking for Bench Prime is that they do have the Diva Bomb and the sort of window, so hopefully they can try to get a big bomb, try to get some separation out so that way they can use window. Oh no.
The 1v1 does not go very well for Silvertalls. Archivist looking for a Dragon Strike, is able to get it off, but pays for it with his life. Dizzy in the spawn, making sure no one can walk out, and that's 3 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. Bench Prime are now in a lose or draw scenario.
Yeah, and looking at how fast they took point 1, I have a sinking suspicion that this might be done at 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. So a few more moments until the gates open up. So, I mean, what does Bench Prime have to do differently this time around?
Scrap the Doomfist. I get you guys might have fun playing it. Scrap it completely. It hasn't been working out. Stick to the Cassidy. Stick to maybe something else in that wheelhouse. Just scrap the Doomfist completely. That's my thought process.
Well, they look to be doing just that. Actually, quite a few swaps. Aurora on the Gogeta.
No.
Instead of the Lucio, you have to worry if the speed will be an issue, but then again, they only need to defend one tick, so if they if they lose the break to begin with, that's probably not a great sign, and we see a little bit of a tease here.
They better not be doing the statue.
Potentially AC 130.
Yep, potentially an AC 130. If this happens, and it works, I will be very surprised.
I've seen crazier, but we'll have to wait and see. The gates opening up in just a few moments. They're not swapping off it, so we're going to see some kind of aerial superiority without an Echo or Pharah in play. Teleporter is right there. Actually not onto the statue, interestingly enough. Not really finding much outside of Luna's shield. Akasha finding Archivist, though. That is a beautiful opening pick. A lot of rotations coming in, pressure onto the Bastion, but that opens up Godspeed, as well as apparently Akasha, to just do whatever they want. They have to back up, but they can't back up that much because they have to touch the point. Already, oh, very, very nearly giving that up to a C9, but there will be a little bit of a fight. But in the end, the Bastion reigns supreme, and that's going to be League Zero Premade claiming the victory.
Yeah, they just look like such an aggressor that they were able to just take control of the map. Bench Prime couldn't deal with League Zero Premade's aggression.
Well, of course, League Zero Premade up 2-0 in the series, looking for that swift 3-0. But before we get to our third map and continue on, stick with us because we'll be going to a short break to catch our breath. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this winner's bracket round one, really round one of the entire tournament for Zero to Hero Legacy. League Zero Premade versus Bench Prime, the former, up 2-0 as you can see on the screen. I'll try and remember to update the graphics as we go along. Doing that and casting together is not as easy as it looks. Either way, next map is going to be Rialto, to the surprise of no one. And Karma, what do you think Bench Prime has to do to actually claw out a victory here?
I honestly feel like this might be their best map at taking advantage of Premade's really aggression. There's a lot of high ground, especially point 2, point 1. As long as they don't really get it to point 3, I feel like they can take advantage of Premade's aggression, sort of stay on the high ground, play some like double shield-ish, get a lot of poke down, and just sort of stay away from them. Like, I don't know if, like, when on first point King's Row, when they lost first fight, Premade started to get super aggro. Bench Prime was just sort of kiting him back, and then obviously the Diva got it 2K with a squish, but you were able to sort of bait them in and just bring him into your entire team. So I wonder if that's how Bench Prime was going to. I hope that's how Bench Prime was going to be able to hopefully win this today, or this map.
Well, if they do want to win the series, of course, they have to reverse sweep at this point. They can no longer lose, just win or draw, which I'm sure they really don't want to draw because that's only going to elongate things. But we'll see in just a moment what they decide to do as we get Rialto ready. It's going to be rather interesting. You know, Rialto probably one of, if not the most popular escort map. And to no one's surprise, League Zero Premade opts to defend once again. Seeing Wrecking Ball composition from League Zero Premade, do you think Bench Prime is also going to run out on this Wrecking Ball comp, or do you think they might want to try something different once they see what the defenders have?
I feel like they will probably stay on the ball comp. It is very good. Sorry for the dog in the background. I don't know why he's trying to break my door down. But it is very good for Rialto first point, trying to boot them off the high ground, try to disorientate them, especially if you think they will be on the double shield comp.
Well, we have a little bit of a Pharah mercy here. Now, Fifi, one of her pocket picks has always been Pharah. Quick sleep coming in onto Luna. Thankfully not into the drink, at least not quite yet, but really just poke damage for the time being. The full engagement hasn't happened. As I say that, though, Nebula finds Godspeed, and Dizzy does Dizzy things, apparently, somewhere along the line, and doesn't exactly look too good for League Zero Premade. It just kind of fell apart there after losing the first two members.
Yeah, this looks like it might be one of the tougher comps for Dizzy. Dizzy looks like they are super aggro as Fifi dies to the Echo, but it's a very difficult comp if you just go in very solo. The ball needs to be very coordinated with the Echo, with a lot of different members of the team, so that way they just don't die in a second, basically.
Well, who needs coordination when you have an Echo who can hit shots, apparently, because Godspeed being a little bit of a menace, almost dying there, probably typing in match chats. Thankfully we can't see that because these players get a bit frisky at times. Well, Bench Prime is still gotta push it forward, right? They got the cards to the courtyard, but not much further.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good getting it past that first corner. The first corner is very hard to get past in most instances, especially with that little bridge being there, having boop off opportunities. So getting around the first corner is, I would say, is pretty good for a first little push.
Worth also noting that Nebula swapped in for Archivist, and that's Fifi Archivist, a completely different DPS lineup. Granted, Nebula falls to Truedonger, so maybe not the best showing, best opportunity to point that out when they lose to a support player. Transcendence actually forced out of Akasha just to stay alive, however, and keeps Dizzy alive right up until the anti-nade comes in. But it's okay because Azto has the Gravitic Flux looking for Aurora, but that Valkyrie is so hard to pin down. The Moth should be feared.
Oh yeah, Mercy's Valkyrie is so hard to do, especially with the ultimate. I remember when they first did it, and it was I think it was like 75% speed advancement for it as they swap to the Brig now.
What do you think the bigger differences between like the Mercy and the Brig here? Because it seems like we both teams like to play both quite a bit, but doesn't really seem to have any logic as to why.
The biggest part for the Brig is to get that stun, to get the shield, especially with Dizzy's how aggro he is as he's just booping around Sebez on the Sigma on the high ground. Just sort of providing some more stun capabilities so that way you just don't have to deal with Dizzy the entire time just running into your backline and getting out freely.
Both nano boosts invested, but not really much yielded as a result. Both teams still feel rather even. Gravitic Flux from Sebs will actually find Ravioli around the corner. Didn't even notice he was there. But now Sebs is caught up a little bit far forward, but the rest of Bench Prime pushing up to help their Sigma, their anchor of the front line, and despite Fifi probably blinking into some mines there, unfortunately so. Well, Luna, that didn't work out too well. Ravioli looking for a little bit of stabilization. Godspeed coming in with the Doomfist, actually making it work this time around. I guess better late than never. And the card's going to stop just over 3 meters away.
That's got to be heartbreaking, especially with this last fight being the last fight, or the next fight being the last fight. Just being able to stop like at like 4 meters before it's supposed to, before you get to point two, is insane.
Well,
Oh no.
Godspeed. we don't talk about that, and you're very lucky we didn't catch it on camera, I suppose. Luna, of course, gets the touch, the Wrecking Ball, perfectly capable of doing so. Fifi on the front lines, causing a little bit of havoc as well. Ravioli, now gone, forces a good amount of resources out of League Zero Premade, including the Transcendence. They're going to want that later on, assuming this point gets captured and the card pushes forward. Of course, they'd love to prevent that, but it looks like first point is going very much in favor of Bench Prime. Despite it getting dicey, they managed to pull through.
Yeah, I think they're very happy that Godspeed sort of just fell off the map right there, making it a 5v6, so that way they didn't have to deal with the Doomfist punches coming from behind.
Beautiful sleep on the Nebula from downtown, but unfortunately for
Oh,
the entirety
easy.
of Bench Prime, it's quite a bit of peel from Sebs in particular. And yeah, Dizzy getting hyper-aggressive. What else is new? I don't even know what just happened there with Godspeed, but I think he hit the corner of the wall. Nebula didn't even know it hit him. And Ravioli out for blood at this point, wanting to take a little bit of a Tracer duel before opting for a more squishy target. Just a little bit of poke, waiting for the right opportunity, and I'd say a Nano Boost is a good opportunity enough. Will find Aurora, but didn't manage to get the tracking necessary to close it out. Stunned up and annihilated by the very thing you tried to destroy. Aurora anti-nated and basically 1 HP. Didn't stand much of a chance, but neither does Godspeed. So far away from the rest of his team.
Yeah, that nano onto the Tracer, it's a good nano if you're able to hit, if you're able to get to. Oh no, Luna.
It's very much in danger.
Oh yeah, but it's a good nano, especially if you're able to hit some shots, which unfortunately they were not able to do. I really like it on the Doomfist right there on Godspeed to sort of be able to just one-shot a squishy almost.
Luna looking for really anything there with the minefield, not finding too much outside of forcing Asdo to back out, but it's really just an inconvenience for Akasha. That's really it. However, they do manage to section off Dizzy and take him down once again. Dragon Strike preventing anyone from standing on the stairs, lest they meet their demise like Ravioli, and Aurora still has the rally if she so desires, which they very well might now that the card is getting ever so close. Sure enough, there it is. Pressure onto Asdo does not allow him to last for much longer, and Dizzy is basically fodder at this point. Just a giant ult battery. Gotta kill the lamp before the Diana can die, but Aurora has enough armor where it doesn't really matter. Nanoboy's coming in onto Ravioli as a last-ditch effort, but already so incredibly low. Didn't even have recall available, and Asdo shows us the dance of his people. Unfortunately, it's not a very long-lasting dance, as we're very dangerously close to getting second point captured here by Bench Prime, and sure enough, there it is. A minute and a half to get the card the rest of the way through Rialto.
Oh yeah, Aurora there was just like a raid boss almost, just trying to beat up both of the supports for Premade, and they did their job. They were just sort of taking the sort of resources away from the rest of the team and having to put it back onto the supports.
Godspeed going in incredibly deep, not realizing that Doomfist is not yet a tank. To be determined. But at the time of this game, most certainly wasn't. Dragon Strike coming in down through mid. Will not find anything, but forces Bench Prime. Forces League Zero Premade to separate just a little bit. A lot of pressure coming in, and Luna will lead the charge, finding quite a few kills here and there. Godspeed forced to use the ultimate to get out. Doesn't sound like they're doing anything damage-wise. Actually, nope, they're up on the roof and they die anyway, so that didn't really last very long.
No, third point is very good for Doomfist. Hopefully the Bench Prime is able to just capture this point at least.
Well, they have about 20 seconds left to do it, and they're finding the kills necessary. Akasha in particular already gone. That Brigitte so valuable in the stall here. But Silvertals does have that Transcendence. Asdo is incredibly low. True Donner taken down. Dizzy, the primary stall, does not last very long, and mutually assured destruction between Nebula and Ravioli. Diva Bomb on point for good measure. And in overtime, they managed to capture the entirety of Rialto. Actually, they managed to capture all 3 points in overtime, ironically.
Yeah. Uh, Premade was very good. They did a good job stalling it. They just weren't able to finish it off. Basically, they weren't able to just keep bench prime off of capping it in basically every single overtime for each team.
Certainly, but now we've seen this song and dance before, right? Where bench prime will capture in overtime. It's a good push, but then we have the hyper aggression of Dizzy and crew. So I mean, again, does League Zero Premade need to change anything about their approach, or do they just press W and hope for the best again?
I feel like on attack, it's a lot easier to just be like, let's press W and just win the game most of the time. On defense, it's a little bit different because you have to know when to not overextend, especially because of how far away your spawns are and stuff like that. So hopefully on attack, we see it work out a little bit more for Premade. But if they stay on this, I feel like they're just going to be just press W, get some kills, especially with the Widow and Tracer. Oh,
Well, Luna doing a little bit of tomfoolery here before the gates open up, but Wrecking Ball can get back rather fast, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, like you said, that Tracer Wrecking Ball duo is going to be absolutely crucial for League Zero Premade here, of course. Bench Prime doesn't really have that. They have a Genji, of all things, so they're either going to have to make do with that.
Genji could be good on pressuring the Widow, but it's going to be a lot harder for Bench Prime to be able to win this with the...
Well, especially without the Brig in play, that's not a great start. Yep, there's both supports. Luna falls, but I'd say losing both supports is a little bit more valuable. Godspeed also loses the duel to Fifi, who's popping off now, apparently. I don't know where this Genji play came from, but it's working, so keep doing it. And Bench Prime find a good amount of kills. I don't know where that came from.
Nebula did very good with getting the Brig first, getting both supports done first, and then just sort of just surrounding the rest of the team and getting picks off. Godspeed is going for a nice little flank here. Hopefully he's trying to find one.
No, that was scouted about as fast as it happened. But Fifi does have to back out now that the rest of League Zero Premade is back from spawn. That's the advantage to being the offense here. Ravioli actually finding Nebula as well. It's the first time he's shown up this round in the kill feed, at least on the correct side of the kill feed, per se. But you're going to need quite a few more shots like that in order to close things out. Okay, we don't talk about that. Aurora as Dizzy closes that out. A little bit of situational blindness there.
Yeah, I think Ravioli and Aurora were both thinking that they were on the same team. Which, it's happened a lot more than you think.
Godspeed, well, getting a little bit hyper-aggressive then. To be entirely fair, the Wrecking Ball was also. So, at least you were being hyper-aggressive together.
Yeah.
A little bit of a push here, but that wasn't really that much of a defense for first point once it crumbled. There was no recontest, there was no overtime push or anything, because there was still like 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, Premade has done a very good job especially with being hyper aggressive, which is sort of their forte. It seems like this entire match so far is being the aggressor, not letting Bench Prime sort of just sit back and chill, just keep on pressing W. Wow, that was a nice slam.
That was a beautiful combo. that had to be called. There was no way that was unintentional.
Yeah, but like I said, Premade is just being the ultra aggressor, getting picks with Ravioli. Like even if Ravioli's not really doing much, he's still providing chip damage. I would say with the Widow body shots, maybe not getting a quite headshot.
Oh dear. A lot of ultimates being invested, including dueling rallies, so no one's going to be dying unless it's a disgusting amount of burst damage. For the time being, at least True Donger just chilling in his own minefield. No care in the world, at least until they disappear or the card moves out of there, as they now have to back up as their front line is, in Venice Bay.
Yep. I think that's the third time Dizzy has fallen off the map so far?
Probably. I'm shocked it's not more.
Yeah. But Dizzy is aggressive. It's very good, but at the same time it's also very bad, especially if you keep falling off the map like that. But so far, Premade I still feel like is doing pretty good with about 3 minutes left on the clock.
Wow.
Oh.
That was about the
Lunatic.
fastest I've ever seen a Wrecking Ball melt. Fifi looking for a Dragon Blade, it really only finds Akasha, which that is certainly an opening. Whether it's enough for Bench Prime to push forward, it remains to be seen, as both teams kind of back to just poking awkwardly at each other, waiting for an opening, and I'd say that's a pretty good opening. Losing to Zenyatta takes a lot of damage out of the playing field. Ravioli misses the grappling hook, or perhaps gets booped. Either way, the end result is the same. Back to spawn with you.
Ooh, Fifi swaps over to the Sombra now.
Quite some time since she showed that trick, since probably Season 3, so you're talking late 2020, I believe. A little bit of a Wrecking Ball duel here, but I'm not sure what...
Oh, no.
Okay, well, Azdo got outplayed to the nth degree. Make it 4. No comments.
Dizzy. I think we know why his name is Dizzy now.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, his face... by the way, fun fact, Dizzy is League Zero Premade's logo. That is a baby picture of him with an inflatable pink guitar. Also, their role in the server is just that picture with the head cropped out. Or just the head. Either way, Diva Bomb coming in. Nebula found over the top of the beautiful dragon. Nice pincher move from League Zero Premade. Despite a little bit of awkwardness for this push thus far, they managed to bring it back together in a relatively coordinated push here. They are bleeding members a little bit. Akasha isn't a great person to lose in this engagement, but thus far they seem to be doing well enough. The card is moving steadily, and they're finding all the necessary picks. They just need to follow through.
Yeah, I think Akasha did a little bit of trolling right there by jumping over the ledge and trying to get a window sort of flank off, but just ended up dying in the meantime.
I think at this point these teams are very much just having fun with it, knowing everyone in this lobby besides Godspeed from previous seasons of League Zero. Godspeed, speaking of which, is very hungry. The post bomb was mega brain. Wow. I don't think that was intentional, but you take those if you're Godspeed.
Oh yeah, you always say it's intentional, no matter what. Fifi is close to this EMP, so I wonder how she's going to use it, especially only being 20% off, and them being just around the corner for point 3.
Well, Nebula tosses in the Dragon Strike over to the point, forces League Zero Premade to back up just a little bit. The hack coming in onto Godspeed. That should be a death sentence to this Tracer, but they survive with a sliver of HP. Sebs does get the remech in, but immediately demeched once again. Fifi thinking about it, thinking about the solo EMP on Alonana, who is Discord orbed, but probably best to wait a little bit. Diva Bomb coming in from Azdo as well. Will not find anyone. But Godspeed is cleaning up house as well. The solo EMP onto the Zenyatta, of course. Why didn't we see it coming? Either way, the kills still coming in favor. Actually, never mind. I was going to say in favor of the defense, but that's no longer the case per se. It's rather evened up, and with the nano boost coming in, they could if they want to, but I think they want to wait just a little bit. Dragons from Ravioli. Interesting.
I think that was from Spawn.
That was from Spawn, so I have to imagine a swap is coming in. Or not. Nope, okay, he's
Maybe
still there.
Maybe a fat finger?
Just style points.
True.
Either way, we have re-engagement coming in. Fifi now on the Doomfist, now that the EMP is gone, but that didn't last very long at all. Built up a good amount of the way to the Meteor Strike, but it's not really going to matter when you're in spawn more often than not. Aurora, with the rally, will prevent a good amount of damage from coming in. That extra damage mitigation from the armor. And just press W. The only thing you're missing is a nano boost to call it an official raid boss.
Yeah, Brig is one of those best characters to try to just press W with, especially because you don't die. Oh, that was almost like...
Wow.
Oh.
What a read for... Wow. That...
Okay, what just happened in the last like 3 seconds of that match?
Beautiful read from Bench Prime to prevent anyone from touching, but also a really nice pulse bomb from Godspeed right before death. Like, if anyone else could have touched, that would have potentially been winnable, but that was just solid prediction from Bench Prime, and they actually get a map to their name.
Yeah, they did very good on Rialto. I really like they were able to sort of kite out the aggression from Premade, uh, making sure that it was, yes, they were super aggressive with Dizzy and with the Tracer and with everything like that, but they were able to kite it out, make Dizzy have some misplays, fall off the map a few times, stuff like that. But it was also very, very fun to watch. Both teams look like they're going blow for blow almost.
Well, I don't know exactly how to tell you this, but there's going to be another fun thing to watch because the next map, and I'm going to need to explain this one, we asked the community if there was anything special they wanted for this tournament because it was sort of a love letter from staff to the community after a rough season 4. And a very popular request was to bring Horizon Lunar Colony back into the map pool. So we did, and it was chosen almost every single time. And of course, that is going to be the next map. So good luck trying to analyze this one because we have not seen this in competitive play for like what, 2 years?
I think so. A little bit of backstory. I have not played the Horizon Lunar Colony on PC competitively. I came from console a little bit over 2 years ago, and I think that was the last time that it was in the competitive pool was when I was on console. So analyzing it on a PC stance is going to be very, very difficult, very, very different.
It's okay because these neither us nor the teams knew what was going on here. They just played whatever they felt like. So it's going to be comfort picks. It's going to be good old-fashioned standard Overwatch. And let's get the teams mixed up here. I had it right the first time. Bench Prime on the defense this time around because they won Rialto. Of course, they need to win this one as well or tie it.
I'm surprised they're not on the double shield for defense.
I don't think Luna likes Orisa, from my recollection.
Fair enough. Don't like Orisa, might as well not play it. Luna is doing the ball tech, though, to try to make it so they can't touch.
A little bit of a cheeky touch there from Godspeed. Might not survive the encounter, however. Fifi locking the legs and chases away the Tracer Menace. Everyone actually drops back to the point as this double shield from League Zero Premade looking to take control of the high ground. Luna does not last very long under the threat of all this damage, and Fifi is looking worse for wear. Winston's bedroom is not the place to be in that case because there's only one escape, and Asdo loves that fact.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect spot for the hyperspheres to go. It's just bounce all around the room and then it'll hit you no matter what.
It's gonna be what, 5, almost 6 minutes on the clock to capture second point.
Oh no, Nebula!
Godspeed. It's getting hyper aggressive once again, and it's just working. Bench Prime, they're already on the point, mind you. I think that's Godspeed, but Fifi now over to Genji just to try something different.
Yeah, I mean, Genji here could work, especially against Double Shield. If the Orisa gets a pull off, then you can sort of pull the entire team as they window on the high ground.
Looking for something. Pulse Bomb coming in will not find anything, but takes a good chunk of health out of Truedonger. But not much more to speak of that. The Bench Prime, in fact, will stabilize.
Yeah, that's good. I'm very glad they were able to stabilize, especially with Premade using the window on the high ground. It's very, very difficult to sort of hide from that window, especially since it overlooks almost the entire map. Oh no, Luna.
Well, the minefield is going to do something. I'm not sure how much of something, but nevertheless, there are mines in the field, and Luna is very low. Yeah, won't survive that one. Ravioli made sure of it. Dragon Strike coming in, looks like directly onto points, but Sebs was ready with the Grubidic Flux to prevent anyone from getting a little bit too cheeky, and it was crucial as well as Asdo was just 2% away from that Grubidic Flux of his own, but it looks like League Zero Premade will be able to get at least one tick on the board for the time being. Another window from Truedonger, building them up as if it was Coalescence, no less, and it looks like second tick will be yielded, sure enough, Asdo coming back into play. With the Gravitic Flux, will find a Transcendence in the midst of it all, Dragonblade will take out both supports, so that should be the end of this engagement as long as they can just do enough damage to take someone out. They no longer have sustain, but Sebs needs to survive for just a little bit longer. Nebula now on point, desperately trying to do something, but Godspeed melted the Echo as though it were paper. Okay, well, Ravioli's trying to make something of this, but the respawns are a little bit too heavy in favor of Bench Prime.
Oh.
And it should be the end of it.
This hopefully should be the end of it. If Ravioli was able to get out there, I would have just laughed and cried.
I'm sure he would have as well.
Yeah. Soldier on second point, though, is very good, especially with that, again, going back to the high ground, just sort of like how Jake was in the World Cup. Just sitting on the high ground, providing pressure from basically everywhere.
World Cup, how we miss ye. But that's neither here nor there, because Nebula, looking for an opportunity to use this duplicate ups to go back towards the high ground to chase down the Tracer, misses the shots, but it's okay because Godspeed doesn't hit any of them either, and just backs out, says they've had enough of that. And it looks like Bench Prime are just rotating all the way around Akasha with spheres. Will find Nebula's body, torso, and face, enough to send him back to spawn, and this might be the final tick. That is quite a red kill feed in favor of the offense. Attack Visor certainly isn't helping. The duplicate lasted for all of 0.2 seconds. Akasha might be in danger here. Nope, never mind. They got it covered. And that is 2.5 minutes, give or take, on the clock.
From what I remember with Horizon Lunar Colony, that's a very good sort of offense for Premade. Being able to cap with just under 230 left. Bench Prime, they were able to hold it for pretty long as well. I think just under 6 minutes was the official capture point for point 1 to try to capture point 2. So being able to hold it for about 3 minutes, it's very good for how Bench Prime was able to do, especially with the amount of times that it looked like Premade was going to be able to win it.
Definitely, but now they're going to have to clap back. Maybe this time around, because they're on offense, the Wrecking Ball will actually play into their favor, however.
Oh, yeah. Wrecking Ball on this map, I feel like, is one of the best. This is one of the best Wrecking Ball maps. Granted, he is technically from Horizon Lunar Colony. But with Premade teasing the double shield here and more than likely playing it on defense, just being able to boop the tanks down, getting some separation, so that way you don't just have focus fire on you while you're trying to cross one of the worst checkpoints, or one of the worst choke points in Overwatch League, in Overwatch history. It's very good with sort of separating them.
Well, ironically, we might not even see the Wrecking Ball. I think they're just going for good old-fashioned anti-bunker dive.
Yeah, I mean, this works too. Just go right up in their face, make sure they can't move. I want to be careful with Godspeed on this Tracer with the Ana for Bench Prime.
Certainly, despite not really being known by the community outside of the small friend group of League Zero Premade, Godspeed has certainly made a name for himself thus far as someone to match Dizzy's aggression, which is saying a lot. Nebula getting dangerously low, but will survive for the time being. Not building up too much to that duplicate quite yet, but Godspeed living up to the hype that we've created for him, already causing a ton of chaos in the backline on this Tracer, and it leads to just a complete wipe.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I can say out of it is that the Ana is already at 41% for, I can't really read who that is, but
Silver Talls.
Silver Talls? Silver Talls.
No lie.
Silver Talls. At least they're at 50%, so hopefully this next fight probably get up to, or get the Nano, so that way you can just use it onto Luna, so that way you can just provide more damage while they're jumping in and more tankiness.
Certainly, but they have to survive the dive first, as Luna's already half HP. Aurora's down as well. Silvertall soon to follow. Godspeed is just never ending with this assault. Sebs, yep, didn't stand a chance. The Dragon Blade coming in from Fifi, probably because of a swap that is imminent. Sebs, quick goodbye before jumping off into the lunar crater.
Yeah, Silvertalls basically has that Nano now, as Fifi swaps to the Genji.
They were on the so
They were on the Genji, so they used Dragon Blade there. I did not
yes,
realize that.
just before a pulse
Oh,
bomb. That was a little bit hopeful, but then again, it almost hit Aurora, so fair.
yeah. Silver Tails is going to nano. Yep.
Yep, there is a electric monkey on the high ground, but the attack visor finding quite a bit more value melting Sebs, not allowing the D.Va to really do anything. Fifi getting a bit of revenge, though. But Godspeed still causing quite a bit of a ruckus right up until that moment. Dying to a Valking Mercy is not really as much to be ashamed about. Fifi, despite losing the Dragon Blade rather quickly, is making quite a bit of a name for themselves in this engagement. Asdo is playing with fire here, or I guess playing with an Echo, which is equally as dangerous. Nebula will find Dizzy, and this is going to be at least one tick yielded, probably two, maybe three, but it looks like Premade are looking to re-engage here at some point.
Yeah, especially with the flux right here, they're definitely going to try to touch this point. Oh, Luna already falls.
Luna just annihilated before they get a chance to really realize what is happening, and the supports just have to pocket each other on the side of Bench Prime to stay alive, but that's not really going to do too much. Although Nebula is finding a few picks here and there, but before they fall themselves, and they have to get off point. Okay, well, Sebs does it to him once again, because you had to get at least one more in.
Yep, that's 3 so far today. So if you had that on the Overwatch bingo card, then you're a winner, I guess. Dizzy has the bongos for point 2, which is a very good ultimate for being able to just hold down a site as they use it already.
Well, Ravioli does not last very long even with the bongo aiding, but Godspeed is using the damage amplification to quite great effect, as Nebula, even with a duplicate there, wasn't really able to accomplish anything, and that was a pretty solid, stalwart defense.
Oh yeah, Dizzy's bongos were just able to provide so much damage that Bench Prime wasn't able to hold on to it. Swallowtail does have the nano again. And ooh, Dragon Blade.
We do have the infamous combo ready, but losing Godspeed so early might not bode too well. Fifi melted. Didn't even get a chance to dash before stuns came in left and right. The risky res coming in from Aurora, as well as a rather awkward sleep to Asdo, who's now in a very tight corridor with an angry Genji, who decides to get out. Fifi probably for the better. That is a ton of AoE damage coming in left and right. But Godspeed once again focuses down Sebs. Feels like they're just the bane of D.Va this entire map.
Oh yeah, Godspeed has been going off this entire game so far, just getting those picks at the perfect time.
Picks going in back and forth, but Ravioli coming back with the attack visor should be able to even things up. Luna, dangerously low, has to disengage. Silver Doll's not exactly the best position to be in. Once they notice you, you're basically dead.
Yeah, that was a very good hold for Premade. They only Bench Prime was only able to get a tick there. They did have to use basically everything, but oh my god, the Zenith already basically has trans again for what was that, like a minute ago he used it?
Give or take, yeah. So, building up to that Nano Blade is really going to be a race as to who can build these up faster. Nano certainly will be up rather soon, but the Blade and the Transcendence is going to be the determining factors, potentially, of this next fight.
Oh, yeah. And they built it. They built the Zen Transcendence, so hopefully oh no, Fifi died.
Oh, well, who needs Transcendence when you can just do that? Nice anti-nade, but Luna's really the only one back there to capitalize on it. Fifi was taken out much too early in that fight to really help the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, this looks like it will probably be last fight too, with 3 ults coming from Bench Prime.
Yeah, pretty much 3 going on 4 ults. If Luna can build up those minefields rather soon, but they only got a little bit over 30 seconds remaining. Fifi looking for something, but an early window they really want to make sure. This Dragon Blade is disallowed from doing anything. Seb's getting a bit of revenge on Godspeed there, eating the Pulse Bomb. I'm gonna wish they had that one back.
Yeah, they're waiting for Nebula back, who has the duplicate, so hopefully they can duplicate like a Sigma, almost get them off the high ground.
gonna have to do something fast because they got less than 10 seconds remaining and they have to touch the points, let alone win at all. Nano Boost coming in onto Luna, they decide they don't need it for the Blade. They are going for that secondary tick, but they get off the point. Ravioli once again with the attack visor. He's been a menace thus far with them, but not really finding too much this time around. Fifi and Luna both there to shut it down. Dizzy taken out of the fight after quite a while. Battle Cow can only be so. Hardy, duplicated Bongo coming in, that's only going to help Bench Prime in this quest to clear out the points they need to capture it to now be in a draw or lose scenario.
Yeah, and if honestly, I feel like if Bench Prime decide to use that ball for defense again, I feel like that Premade has this one in the bag. They were just able to just run them over with the double shield comp on attack. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, though.
We have a few more seconds before the very least we'll see what Bench Prime want to run. League Zero Premade can, of course, meme around a bit more and spawn before we get there. But I mean, even if they don't choose the Wrecking Ball, I mean, like, do you think Luna just has to bite the bullet and play the Ariza?
Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't look like she's going to.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. Rolling out. Desperation, I suppose.
Desperation Orisa, which personally is my favorite, one of my favorite tanks in the entire game is the Orisa. But this is like the ultimate bunker comp. You don't want them to just touch you, and Premade is going back to what got them here in the first place, the rush comp.
Certainly, ton of poke damage to run through this gauntlet of the courtyard. But Ravioli on the Symmetra, maybe deciding to get a little bit cheeky and maybe teleport straight to point. They only need a tick, and they have plenty of time to cheese. If possible, it'd be so much nicer for them, I would assume, if they could get it in a few seconds instead of actually fighting.
Oh, yeah. They're doing it.
Teleporter straight to point. The touch has to come in. Teleporter taken out, but they do finally get the touch, but Aurora has to drop, trying to pressure out Ravioli, but they lose Aurora and Nebula already. True Donger does fall, but Silvertall is now out of the fight. That's both tanks. About as fast as you can take it, barring no defenders touch the point. And it's going to be League Zero Premade taking the series 3-1, meaning they move on to winner's bracket round 2. And Bench Prime drop down to the loser's bracket.
Yeah, Premade just had the rush down packed almost, it seemed like. They were the aggressors every single fight. Even in the double shield, it just seemed like they were the aggressors. They didn't want to step off the gas and just rolled over Bench Prime almost.
Well, I guess fortune favors the bold, and in this case, the faster tempo, because League Zero Premade, like we said, aside from not being capable of touching points on Rialto, they felt like they were in control pretty much 24/7.
Yeah, it really did feel like this was Premade's matches to lose, I guess. Like, I think even on Lijiang, they only really lost on indoor. They only got like 75% taken away from them. Bench Prime did. Like, it just seemed like this was Premade's match to lose.
Well, certainly. So that is all we have for this match, folks. Feel free to follow myself or Karma on Twitter, especially Karma. This was his first official cast that I'm aware of. As a big shout out to him and whatnot. And that's all we've got. So until next time, don't die.